guys, welcome to the second part of our advanced eForm tutorials where we'll be talking about how to set up mathematical elements inside your form. To get started, I have already created a sample form with all of the mathematical elements inside it. That is a single option, multiple option, drop down option, single slider, multiple grading, star rating, scale rating, toggle option, feedback small text, keypad and single checkbox. These are the only elements that can have either a mathematical value assigned to one of the options or can take one mathematical value directly from the user. First we are going to see these three form elements: single option, multiple option and drop down options, and see how to set up a mathematical evaluator in accordance with these elements. To get started, we first add a mathematical element from feedback type elements and we drag it onto our form, place it below. As you can see, for the mathematical evaluator element we have a formula input. Before we discuss about the formula, let us first assign some numeric values to the form elements. So for single options element we have these option 1, 2 and 3 which is set by default. We are going to assign numeric values to it, 10, 20 and 30 respectively. Save it. For multiple options as well we assign same numeric value. For option 3, let us add a negative numeric value -30. For drop down options we are going to set 1, 2 and 3 respectively. In order to see how the numeric values are put into the mathematical evaluator element, let us first write a simple formula, M0. For formula, these parts M1, M0, F1, F2, etc. are the variable parts which will correspond to the respective element. For this element, the ID is M0, so we put M0 without the braces and we save it. Now let's view the form. As you can see, we have our mathematical evaluator element placed inside our form, and if we select an option from the first element, then the value is shown over here. For option 1 it is 10, for option 2 it's 20, for option 3 it's 30. Now to do some actual mathematical calculation, we have to put a valid mathematical expression, just like we would write in pen and paper. Say for example we would like to add the values of M0 and M1. So we do it like this: M0 plus M1. We save the settings, set the form. Now as we refresh it, initially it is set to 0 because none of the elements, none of the options are selected for these two elements. Once we start selecting, as you can see, for option 1, for both the elements the numeric value was set to 10, so that is 10 plus 10 equal to 20. We can check some other options as well and the values will change in accordance. To see how the negative marking works, we simply select option 3 for first and option 3 as well for the second element. For this, the numeric value was assigned to +30, and for this the numeric value was assigned to -30. Once added up, it becomes 0. Now let's see how we can use braces inside the formula. We'd like to add these two and multiply it with M2. So we add up M0 and M1 and we multiply it with the value of M3. Sorry, the value of M2. You can see it is happening. The values are changing as well. So that was all about assigning numeric values to options. Now let's see how mathematical evaluator element behaves with respect to elements like this: single slider, multiple grading, etc. So we put it below multiple grading. First let's see how it fetches the value from a single slider element set to M3. The ID of the single slider element is M3. So as we change the slider, you can see the mathematical element's value is also changing. If we want, we can multiply it or do some other calculation like M3 minus 10 okay, into, say for example, M2. Okay, so for M2 we select option 3, that is the value of 3. So M3 minus 10, that is 20 minus 10, which equals to 10 into M2, that is 3, which becomes 30. Now let's see how we can assign a variable for grading element. For grading element we have different rows for different items. As you can see, we have item 1 and item 2. Make sure that the grading element is set to slider type, not range type, and you have at least one item inside the list of options. To point to a specific item or specific row, we have another identifier inside the variable. For this, we are going to choose the first row. So M4R1. The R1 part will correspond to the first row, and M4 is the ID of our grading element. So now the mathematical evaluator element will simply show what we have selected for the first row of our multiple grading element. Hold on, something might be off. Sorry, it should be R0. The first row will correspond to 0. As you can see, I have selected 12 for this item 1, and the value has become 12. You can also add different rows by simply entering a formula like M4R0 plus M4R1. $36 for first and 4 for second, which becomes 40. We can also simply omit the R part of our variable, and the system will just add up all the items inside our grading element. 6 for first, 4 for second, which adds up to 10. Similarly, for star rating and scale rating, we'll have the value chosen by the user. So for star rating, that is M5, we are going to select the first row and we'll add up with the scale rating second row, that is M6R1. Sorry for the interruption there. So M5R0 will correspond to this row of our star rating, and M6R1 will correspond to this row for scale rating. Now let's see what happens. So for the first one, I'm going to select 2. 2 shows up, which will get added to this 3. 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. So that's how it works. For toggle option, the value will be interpreted as 0 if the toggle state is set to off. If the toggle state is set to on, then the value will be interpreted as 1. Same for single checkbox. To demonstrate, I'm going to change this into M7 plus O1. Okay, so we have M7 plus O1. First I'm going to enable the toggle, which becomes 1, and also check the single checkbox, so which becomes 2. That's how toggle type elements work with mathematical evaluator. Now for elements where user can input directly, the value will be taken from the user input only. To demonstrate, I'm going to change the formula to F0 to correspond to our small text element, and I'm also going to restrict this element to number only. So now as I type in 10.1, as you can see, the mathematical element has also changed. Same thing is going to happen for the keypad element as well. Make sure that you set the keyboard type to numeric keyboard, then the mathematical evaluator element will be able to pick it up correctly. So to demonstrate, I'm going to add two values, F0 plus O0. and I'm going to write say 100 here, and I'm going to write 50 over here, which sums up to 150. So that's how mathematical evaluator works for different types of form elements. Next, I'm going to show you how we can use a mathematical evaluator element to set up a payment form. So let us start fresh by creating a new form, and we are going to name it as demo payment system. We'll have a normal single paged form. We add a new container. We name the container to order form with a nice icon to it. And we start by adding a few containers. So let's add some styled container, two styled container. Inside every styled container we're going to add two columns. Column third and column third. So we have column third. So I'm going to put a checkbox over here. Saying I want burger. Okay, now I'm also going to add a single slider asking for the burger quantity. Say 10. Okay. And a mathematical evaluator to calculate the total. That is 0 into, say for example our burger will be priced at $12, so 12 into burger quantity, that is 0. We multiply it with a single checkbox because we would like to add it up only if user has selected that he or she wants burger. Save the settings. Let's view it. So for 4 burgers the value is 48. 12 into 4 is equals to 48. Alright. Style it up a little bit. Similarly, we set it up for, say, pizza. Similarly, we add a single checkbox saying I want pizza. And also a single slider asking for pizza quantity between 1 and 10, and a mathematical evaluator to calculate the subtotal. So it could be O1 into M1 into, say, 10, which is going to be the price for our pizza. So now it looks like this. So what we would essentially want is to add up the values of two subtotals to show a final cost to the user, and also present a payment form to check out the order. Now to do so, we first enable payment system and we put a mathematical formula to our payment system, which should be F0 plus F1. Currency prefix will be set to $, and we also add payment element to our form. We also need to enable at least one payment system. For this demonstration, I'm going to enable the Stripe payment system. You also need to put your Stripe API key, which I'm not going to do for this demonstration. And we also need to set the preferred payment system as direct payout from Stripe. So as you can see now, user is able to make his order and pay directly through the form. To beautify it more, we can also show these elements only if this checkbox is checked. To do that, I'm going to apply conditional logic. So we would like to show M0 if O0 has value which equals to 1. Similarly, we'd like to show this mathematical element if O0 has value which equals to 1. And also we'd like to show M1 if O1 has value which equals to 1, and similarly we'd like to show F1 if O1 has value which equals to 1. To make things look better, we'd like to show this payment element only when the summation of these two subtotal is greater than 0. To do that, we first insert a hidden mathematical evaluator field. We enable the option not visible inside form, and we put the formula as F0 plus F1. And we apply a conditional logic against F2. Show this element if F2 has value which is greater than 0. Okay. Now our form looks really better. Alright, so that was all about how to set up mathematical evaluators and payment system using eForm. If you have any trouble, please ask in our support forum, and thanks for watching.